Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's on my shirt. In case you don't know who I am or have forgotten me somehow, because I've been out of the workforce for a little while now, I moved myself from Columbus, Ohio to Dallas, Texas 5 years ago to start my tech sales career. Worked at the same company. I was fired from that job 1 month ago, unexpectedly, completely out of the blue. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you the reason why. On a personal note, I'm moving and restarting my life in Denver, Colorado at the end of May. So if you're excited to join me in the next chapter, hit the thumbs up button right now. I've had a lot of time to think about who I am as a person, the mistakes I made. I'm probably the only person ever to get fired for this particular reason, and what I want. I have not had a manager. I have an open calendar. I haven't had a quota in the last month, which is really nice and relaxing. And I can do whatever I want. And I have money to cover my lifestyle for a little bit. But my job now is basically to spend money. I was in Whole Foods the other day and I had all these bags. And I get in the elevator. It's one trip or bus for me. And I've got all these bags wrapped around my wrists. And then this guy behind me kind of taps me on the shoulder because I'm bent over. My hair's messy. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. And this is like 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. And he's like, "Hey, man, how much do you make?" And I thought, "Excuse me?" He's like, "How much income do you make?" And in my head, I thought, you know what? I'm pretty transparent with how much money I make. As you can see in this graph right here, my W-2 income my first year in tech sales was $77,000. And my final year working in corporate America, tech sales at age 26, I made $303,000 of verified income. So I was going through my head, how do I answer this question? And then I said, sort of depends. I don't really have any certainty around when my income's going to come in. So, hey, it kind of depends. He's like, well, hey, check out my logo on Craigslist because we're hiring. I make $2,000 a week and it's awesome here. And I step out of the elevator a little bit humbled, and I thought to myself, he thought I was a food delivery guy, and he had good intentions probably trying to help me get hired because he didn't think I was working. So I had the realization at that moment, wow, I'm actually not working. I don't have a professional job. And it's been over a month and I'm trying to figure my life out. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I'm prepared to share with you the lessons that I've learned through this self-reflection as well. In order for you to truly understand the reason why I was fired, I need to take you back to the beginning of my story just so you understand where I'm coming from. I completely uprooted my life after growing up in Columbus, Ohio. I didn't know what tech sales was, and I accepted a job at a fast-growing tech company, moving to Utah. I planned to move to Utah. I told all my friends I'm going to Utah, and they said, "What's in Utah? What are you going to do out there? Are you going to learn how to ski?" The company says, "Hey, we want you to go to Dallas, Texas. We're building out this office." I'm all in. I want to make a good impression. Sure, count me in. So all of a sudden, right before I'm about to move, I am now going to go to Texas after having never gone to Texas. I moved to Texas, downtown Dallas, with roommates who were fun. And I had the time of my life that first year. We had the party house on the weekends. I met lifelong friends that I started working with when I first got at the company. And it was an incredible experience. They handed me a headset, and the advice I got was cold calling was never going away. So you may as well love to learn it, love it, embrace it. And that's what I did. I prided myself on being the guy who was willing to make more calls than everybody else. I made 60,000 cold calls, and that effort led me to promoting 6 times from a sales development rep 1 to a senior account executive level 5 with a lot of income for my age. And it was a tremendous experience. And one story in particular I want to tell, because I know a lot of you out there are listening and you're like, okay, is he ever going to tell me the reason why he got fired? But I'm sure you're at a place where you're thinking, am I in the right opportunity vehicle for me? How do I increase my income? How do I get more of what I want out of life? And I may be an example of what to do or what not to do. In my head, I reached a point at about 23, 24, where I was a little tired of just partying aggressively one night in the weekends, watching sports all day, gambling, not really taking my health or diet serious. I didn't really have a purpose or anything I was going for, but I realized, hey, maybe money will fix that. Maybe success will fill that void inside of me. So what I did was I started the YouTube channel first and foremost, and that's a whole nother story how we got it to this point. I ended up posting videos for 175 days straight a couple years ago to get the channel to this point. But I moved myself from downtown Dallas, Texas, the life I knew, to North Dallas in the suburbs where no young people are, to be 5 minutes away from my office. Because in my head, I thought, in order to truly be all in and committed to my success, I need to remove social relationships. I need to remove extracurricular activities. I need to remove all distractions so I can focus 100% on work. And that's what I did. I moved up north. And for those of you who have been following me, I have dozens of videos where I'm vlogging myself, waking up at 4:30, working out, cold shower, meditating, journaling, writing down my goals, going to the office, staying in the office late. And just a quick clarification, if you've ever seen a video of me recording in the office, I worked my day job until everyone else left so that I was not a distraction to anyone else in the office. So it required me staying in the office regularly from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. Not asking for any sympathy, but that's the reality of the situation because I wanted to be known as the guy who advocated for the office. I wanted to be known as the guy who loved what he did because I wanted to be there and I truly enjoyed what I was doing. And I could see myself at that company. I had visions of, hey, I could be here the next 5, 10, 15 years. I could keep growing this company. I could do X, Y, Z. And I had all these dreams and visions. And eventually all that was stripped away from me. And the reason why I was let go from the company is because I loved what I did so much. And I have a passion for helping other people. I was regularly asked to speak on various team meetings and with individuals throughout the company because at one point in time, I was mocked on an annual sales meeting for my YouTube channel and social presence because I hadn't proved my performance yet and nobody was listening and I got no engagement online. So that was really the breaking point, the defining point, partially why I decided to sacrifice everything and move up north and just be truly obsessed with my success, wanting to make money and fill that void. So I built up the channel, I built up my following, and I truly, when I say this, I don't know if you guys think I'm joking, but I like to cold call. Like if you were to look at leaderboards daily, like I was regularly one of the top people who made cold calls. Not saying that translated to the most success, but I closed $1.54 million in new annual recurring revenue across my 9 first quarters as an account executive. So if you break that down, it's a pretty good average for someone who's brand new to tech sales with no previous internship sales experience connections or clue what they're doing because they grew up in Columbus, Ohio, not even knowing what the tech industry was. I'm grateful for the opportunity and the experience and the people I met. You can turn any situation to your advantage. I went from basically no social relationships, a bit out of harmony in my life, to this complete 180 curveball of, hey, you've lost your identity. You've lost your ability to make money. You got to go figure it out on your own. And I'm actually really grateful for that experience. I haven't once over this last month thought, you know what, I'm kind of worried. I need to rush into a new job. I'm just taking things a day at a time and trying to figure out who I am as a person and what I want. Because when your entire status and identity is associated with working hard, your job level at your company, performance, when that is stripped away from you, one, you really start to look in the mirror. Who am I? What are my values? What do I want? And two, who are the relationships that I actually prioritize? Who are the people that you heard or didn't hear from after this event? And who do you want to keep in contact with going forward? And I think those are really important lessons that I've learned. What I've also learned is that nobody is really paying attention to you. Think about the worst case scenario. For me, that was losing my job because I am a very public individual. I post on LinkedIn, I post YouTube videos talking about sales. So how is one going to continue talking about sales when they don't actually work in sales and they've been fired from their job? It's kind of embarrassing, right? And as I take a step back, I imagine in my 20s, my experience has been, hey, let me wear the right clothes. Let me try and impress everyone else. Let me do things to fit in. Let me make sure I'm operating out of a place of appeasing the people around me for what they think is right for me. You then get to your 30s and you're like, I don't really care as much about what people think, but I'm still keeping up with the Joneses. You get to 40s and you're like, man, I don't care what anyone else is saying about me. I'm just going to kind of live my life. And then I imagine the 50s, 60s, 70s, you have this realization, no one was even paying attention in the first place. Specific lessons learned from me is the comparison game. I really cared being in this corporate structure. Hey, who promoted to this level by what age? How much money are they making? Oh, they're more successful than me. You'd see someone on LinkedIn all of a sudden that's doing even better. and you're like, man, I'm just not enough. When you're taken out of that environment and it's no longer this golden handcuff, carrot chasing, I'm just going to work real hard for the next 4 months so that I can get this promotion. Once I'm making this money, I'm going to be able to invest this. Once I have that, then that, and then you start to play all these scenarios. Once you're taken away from that, there now is no longer a benchmark comparison point. You're put in a position where now I truly am only interested in being better than I was yesterday. Who am I going to compare myself to? I don't have a job. I don't have any teammates. I don't have any managers. I'm just on my own, screaming into a microphone and camera in my living room. And if you can appreciate that, subscribe to the channel now because it really helps. The next lesson is to take more risks. Right after I got fired, I was in turmoil. I didn't know what to do, and I was questioning everything. So what I did was I got on a plane the next day down to Florida, which is where my dad lives, and I was in this environment around a lot of older people. I would be sitting there Monday morning sipping coffee, and then I'd see these 4 old dudes turn up at 8 a.m. playing golf on a Monday morning thinking, man, they have nothing going on. I'd be walking the beach, and there'd be 2 dudes just sitting in lawn chairs drinking beers at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. And you start to realize, okay, well, these guys have time. How are they spending their time? And you start to realize that we're going to get to a point where it's going to be challenging to take substantial risks. And what are we even risking in the first place? If you are young enough to have time in front of you, like me, I'm 27, I have so much time in front of me. I could start something, completely fall on my face, lose all of my money, and then wake up and be 31 with even more experience. And for that, I'm grateful. And it's now forced me in this zone of, okay, everything you wanted was taken from you. Maybe that's actually the best thing to ever have happen to you. Would I have ever left the workforce if I wasn't fired? Truthfully, I'm not sure. I was speaking with a founder one time who had gotten Series A funding, and he was trying to recruit me to his company. And I said, no, I'm probably going to start my own thing someday. And he's like, well, you're not starting your own thing. You're working on a company. What specifically needs to happen for you to justify leaving? And then I went through all these reasons. Well, I need to meet more connections. I need to know a developer. I need to have this much money in the bank. I need to do this much investments. I need to get to this job level. And you start running through all these reasons as to why it's never going to be a good time. So all of a sudden, when things are taken away from you, I'm incredibly grateful for the experience because you can turn any circumstance to your advantage. The purpose of suffering, because this has been a challenging situation for me, trying to navigate this on my own, is to teach, strengthen, and purify. I feel like I'm learning new things about myself each and every day, and I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to document my feelings and what I'm doing well and not well with you guys. As you've seen, I bring the ups and the downs. Thank you guys so much for supporting me through this process.